Hi, welcome to Gifted and Talented Education's P5 English program. Today, we will be doing a current affairs close passage. Before we begin, please read the passage once through to gain an understanding of the story. On top of that, you may be able to gain context clues from the passage. Please pause the video until you have finished reading this story. As of now, you should have finished reading the passage. Let us move on with the story. Now, let us proceed to question 1. But before I begin, I would like to explain a couple of words to you. Firstly, the word over here, thoroughfare. This means street or boulevard. And this word here, thronged, it means filled with many people. Alright, so over here, it states that it is one of the most blank cafes on a street that is filled at this time of year with festive shoppers, probably Christmas shoppers. People who are buying gifts for their loved ones, and that's in addition to everyday office crowds and tourists. So, what do you think is the answer for question 1? Again, there are many people in this area at this time of year with the festive shoppers, in addition to the everyday office crowds and tourists. Ready? So, for question 1, the answer, if you have guessed busiest, you are correct. And if you have guessed famous, you're also correct. Other words can be popular. All these words are acceptable. Alright, so that's the end of question 1. Let us move on to question 2. For question 2, we can see that something bad happened on Monday. To be specific, a pre-Christmas nightmare played blank inside the Lynch Cafe, blank Sydney's Martin Place. The key word for question 2 is this word, played. This is actually known as a phrasal verb. When you have two words, two separate words, with one meaning, you call it a phrasal verb. In this case, the meaning of the phrasal verb is unfolded. What do you think is the answer? There is only one answer for question 2. And if you have answered out, you are correct. Played out is the answer for question 2. Alright, now let's look at question 3. Question 3 is actually a pretty easy question. If you were to look here, the Lynn Cafe, this is actually the name of the cafe, right? And it's blank Sydney's Martin Place, which is an area, which is probably a street. What do you think the answer is? If you guess that the answer is a preposition, you're correct. But what is the word? Very good. The answer is on. Right? So it's inside the Lynn Cafe on Sydney's Martin Place. Alright, now let's move on to question 4. As you can see, the clue is over here. A gunman had taken several people blank. Now, the gunman has seized several people and are holding them as blank so that the police will not come in and try to bring him under control. What do you think is the answer? If your answer is hostage, that is correct. Another answer could also be prisoner. Prisoner is another acceptable answer for this question. Okay, now let's move on to question 5. So the gunman is brandishing an Islamic blank above a Lynn store sign and the words Merry Christmas. So the clues are here, above the Lynn store sign and words Merry Christmas. What do you think he's holding at this point of time? An Islamic blank. Guessed it? Well, if your answer is the Islamic banner, you are correct. If your answer is also Islamic flag, that is actually acceptable. Right? Both answers are acceptable in this case. Just for context, this is the picture of the flag. Okay? Let us move on to the next question. For question 6, we have to read this part here. Two of them, young women wearing lint aprons who raced out and into the blank of police officers. Now, the police officers are here to help them. So, how do you think the two women felt as they ran towards them? Or you can also look at it this way. The police officers are physically there. So the two women are running into the blank of the police officers. What do you think?